Hey, perfect. So thank you so much for your time, Greg. So
Yeah, no problem.
I just want to kind of get sync up with you and to give a little background myself. And there's some areas I need to consult with you after getting a reference from Jen and Ryan. So that's the purpose of this call.
Sounds good.
Okay, so a little background by myself. I'll make this bigger. You can watch so you can see this. Are you home or are you in mountain? Are you in Menlo Park?
I'm local to Menlo Park, but I don't have a very good setup there. So I go in the office. I haven't been in the office for a little while, but probably gonna be there this Thursday.
Oh, okay, okay. Well, when you're here, hope to catch you one of these days. So basically, I joined Go about second week of July, and I report to Alex and Abhishek. You probably know Abby. So they're both of them are kind of they work together very closely in IT and incident management. So specifically, I'm on the incident management team. More on Abby's portion. Okay. Prior to Grill, I was in Apple. I was working as an infrastructure TPM, focusing on the Apple mail product build-outs and deployment, break fixes, incident, things like that, and supporting the engineer team. So basically, infrastructure and a product manager, I guess you could say that. So I was there about 7 years. Then I went to Meta, Bloomberg, Google, and I focus mainly on security, trust, privacy, data incident for the cloud products, such as the Google Docs, the Gmail, Calendar, all the stuff we're using right now, which I'm somewhat familiar with. So when I'm not doing those incidents, I also focus on programs, processes, instant tooling, education, and of course, instant prevention. And I also did some compliance, regulation initiative for all this company. So that's kind of a TLDR on my background. And I'll take a pause. You have any question for me, Greg?
No, do you want me to give a little bit of my background?
Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. I'd love to hear your background, and hopefully that will answer some of my questions too.
Sure, sure. So, I okay. So I've had kind of a mixed experience, but basically my expertise has been in life sciences. I worked at Genentech for a long period of time. I went back there as a consultant several times. I've worked at working on enterprise applications, specifically at PG&E on SAP applications. Um, at Genentech, I also worked on Oracle Clinical, supporting that as well. I've worked at some smaller medical device companies, like a Roche division, and also for Thermo Fisher division that I worked at as well. And I also have had some tech experience. And I worked at the job I had before here. I was working at Salesforce doing internal documentation related to site reliability.
Mm-hmm.
And then I came here to kind of return to the life sciences, which and regulated environment. And I've been at Grail for about 7 years.
Seven? How many? 7 years?
Yeah, yeah. Actually, it's
Wow!
this week.
Congratulations.
Thanks, I appreciate that. So my I've been kind of across the board on stuff as far as supporting just general software, IT, and security concerns. And here it's definitely been across the board. So I have a good working knowledge of some stuff, but I rely on experts like yourself when we're working on documentation. So hopefully that's informative.
Yeah. So life science, that's very interesting, and remind me, the life science is focused on which particular area? I mean, I've kind of forgot my high school science, life science.
I'm kind of referring to the industry as a whole because when I worked at Genentech, I worked on manufacturing process documents.
Right.
And then my first job, I had two jobs at Genentech, and then my second job was working on clinical trial documentation. So I kind of saw both sides of that. And then at other jobs I've had, like I was working either for quality or I was working for development. Um, and like I mentioned, at my last job, I was specifically working for site reliability.
SRE. Okay.
Yeah, yes, definitely for their data center models that they had.
Uh-huh.
I believe they're using AWS now, and they bought MuleSoft as well. So there's all that stuff. Um, but life sciences just in general, because I worked at two diagnostic companies prior to in my past, and then I worked also at medical device companies. So, and then, so kind of just say life sciences or healthcare, just kind of generically refer to it, if that's any explanation.
Yeah, I just haven't heard the word life science for so many years. So kind
Yeah,
of
yeah. Well, I've been doing this for a while, so maybe maybe that's why I use that term.
no. I remember back in my college day, life science, but it just kind of fades away, right? So you kind of brought up some of my memory back in college, life science, huh? You know. So now look that up. Life science is study of life. I don't know if that's the terminology.
Yeah, I would say you're right. It's kind of biology and those type of concerns. But as far as like life sciences company, because I mean Genentech, I mean they use that a lot when I worked at Genentech, and that was really where I kind of started at. And they're just like, oh, a life science is life science. But Genentech was such is still, but it was definitely at the time such a research heavy company. And so basically they were the ones that kind of set the nomenclature for the rest of the company. And of course I was working on documentation, so it was like, we're a life sciences company, we're a life sciences company. And then the community of people that do my kind of work in the Bay Area is kind of small. And so I've worked with multiple people over the years. There's actually, yeah, much less so in tech, but in biotech, in life sciences, I've worked with some of the same people over the years. Or I've worked at a lot of the same companies a lot of people have worked at before too. And so, yeah, it's just a general way of just saying it. It's something that I learned at Genentech. So,
Got it, got it. Wow, 7 years. That's a long time, and I haven't met someone as long as you. I think so far, everybody's been here pretty new.
yeah, yeah. I'm not the only person that's been here. I know some people that have been here up to 9 years, which is
Wow.
pretty impressive. But yeah, the company was really different when I started. It was definitely very much in startup territory. Seeing the company get more structure, get more organization. There was really one security person, and now there's a whole department, and there's sub departments available, involved, and I think that's great.
Who was that one security person you referred to? I'm just curious.
There, you'll see his name on some documents. There's a guy named Alex Iser who used to be head of security, and he was also covering IT security as well as essentially application security. Um, so kind of everything. He kind of covered everything. He hasn't been here since 2021, I think. He's been gone for a while.
Oh, you
He used
mean
to work.
you mean he has left the company?
Yeah, yeah. He used to. He stayed here until about 2021, and then he had worked at NASA. He had been at NASA for a long time before, like uh, is it the Ames Research Center in Mountain View?
Uh huh. Uh huh.
He came from there. He came to Grail from there.
Got it. Got it. So, what do you do for hobbies, Greg? I mean, I like running. So I don't know about yourself.
Yeah, I've never been a good runner, and I'm a little out of shape right now. But I like to hike. I live in a good area
Uh huh.
for hiking, and it's been really busy, so I haven't had a lot of time to do that except on the weekends.
Yep.
I like bike riding. I also have a pretty decent garden
Okay.
that I maintain. I'm not a total expert, but it's a good stress relieving activity for me. So uh, just kind of taking care of the yard and stuff. So it's kind of what I do.
That's
Read a lot.
good. That's good. Enjoy the nature. I like to bike too. On running, it's never too late to run. You just have to get started like everything else, right?
It's true. It's true. But I have flat feet.
Me too.
And so I have inserts.
Yep.
I've never really done well with running because it just it's a little impactful on my feet. But
Yep.
I have an older brother that same problem. We all have the same issue in my family, and
It's genetic, unfortunately. Fluffy is
yeah,
genetic.
definitely both my father and mother. So definitely there was no avoiding it. But an older brother, he I don't think he runs anymore, but he used to run a lot, so he managed it.
Well,
So
it seems like you're kind of somewhat interested because you talk about it, right? You know about it, you know, the flat fee and everything. You know, maybe one day, you know, if you're interested, we can come back. You in office, we can go out for like a light run, you know, just to get that interest back.
I appreciate that. Yeah, I think I have to ramp up a little bit for a run.
No
Um,
problem. You know,
but
everybody,
I
you know,
appreciate that.
yeah, you know, sometimes we need that extra motivation and a group run. It's always helpful, right?
Oh,
And
absolutely. Yes, yes. It's good to motivate each other that way. I agree.
absolutely. And when I say run, I don't mean like run 5 miles straight. I mean, you know, we can adjust the program. I'm pretty good at that. I made out a friend with that. And let's say, hey, depending where each person is, we'll run 1 mile. We run 1 minute and we rest 1 minute, right? That's to build the stamina, right? So it's not like we run nonstop. It's it's adjusting to individuals' capabilities.
That sounds perfect.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would love to do it. Since you show some interest, I'd love to give you that little push, Greg, so I can back start running.
Yeah, that sounds good. That sounds good. I might take you up on that.
Yeah, let's make it happen, right? Let's do it. You know, once you say, hey, once I settle in a little bit, you know, you let me know when you come in and which day. And you know what? Now's a good time because we still have some sun, right?
Yes, which I don't get a lot over here. I'm over on the coast.
Oh, where are you? Yeah, where are you located anyway? By the way,
In Moss Beach, which I don't know if you know where that's at.
no. What beach?
It's Moss Beach. It's between Half Moon Bay and Pacifica.
Oh, okay. Yeah, do come in. You know, let's make it happen. Even a mile, it's better than nothing, right?
Yeah, yeah. It's like what's the temperature right now? I think it's in the high 50s right now.
Right. So right now is basically August, and basically we have 1 month left for the sunlight.
Yeah, well, you're right, but it's 61 degrees here. So, but we over here on the coast, I don't know if you remember this, and I used to live in San Francisco beforehand, but September, October is like our summer. That's when the sun comes out again.
Right. Yeah. So when do you usually come? Like Thursday, Wednesday, Tuesday? I don't know. I don't know what's your routine.
It kind of varies. It depends. I've been really, really busy working on the Mod 4 response with
Yeah.
all the people you
Yeah.
mentioned, and so it's been really crazy because it's been like this since kind of essentially since late April, May,
Mm.
and so it's been kind of nuts. And it's like I've been the whole everyone working on that team. It's just, and I'm sure you started, you kind of probably got the sense of this that it's pretty crucial, and I'm just like one person that's involved, but the work sometimes a lot of times we're working in the evening and at night and a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So been happening lately. We're supposed to file the response back with the FDA by a week from this coming Monday, and I should have a little bit more flexibility when that happens.
Absolutely.
Um,
Well, just let me know. You know, when you come and just hit me. We can at least we can meet in person. You know, have a walk or something. I don't know. You know, go figure out something.
that sounds good. I appreciate that.
No
I will
problem.
do that.
So, with the remaining time, I just want to consult you with a few things, okay? The first, and that's not my question. I just do a brain dump, okay? Let me see. And I'm in the process about updating some documentation and creating new ones, right? And Janet and Ryan suggest I talk to you, so as you're a good source. And I haven't gone through the complete Viva training, the one we need to go through as a new employee. I know it's in my to-do list somewhere in those modules. I haven't gone through those. So I don't know the whole process yet, but I'm assigned to do some documentation already.
Yeah, well, yeah, no, that makes sense. So, just to answer that question really quickly, just to give you just a quick summary, is yeah, you when you start Grail, you actually get access to do your training on Viva.
Right.
But to do anything else in Viva, like to revise, create new documents, you need to take additional training, which what will happen is, and I can help you with this, is you request, Doc Control is the group that manages Viva and the whole process around Viva. They will send training to you specific to being able to create and approve revised documents in Viva. And once you complete that training, they'll provide you the additional permissions.
Got
Okay.
it. So
So
the got it. So I will let's park Viva. The question right now is, and I think you're very familiar with this stock. Right now,
yeah,
Abby want me to own this stock here, and this stock has been really. Let's you can see my screen, right?
yes.
This is one of many dogs you probably know about since you touch on a lot of dogs. And this dog has been downloaded, I think, since a year ago, right? Right now, if you look at right hand side, some of those common could be familiar to you because I've seen your name there, right? I don't know if you remember. Let me just get some
Oh yeah,
comment.
yeah, yeah. No, I give you a little context about that, but
Yeah,
also looking for the Jira task that's associated with this.
Jira test. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you know about this dog. So right now the context is I am owning this dog. I need to make appropriate update for legal as one of my clients, as few other things for Ryan and Janet. So I'm taking ownership, and they told me this dog was downloaded from. This should be the same dog as the Viva, but it's downloaded out as a Google Doc. So I can use this as a starting point to edit. Does that sound okay?
Yeah, so I wanted, that's why I just want to add a little context about that.
Yeah.
So you might be used to a program like Viva where you do all the documentation work on there, but because Grail is basically a Google Doc company and Viva requires that you work in Office, so Word documents, Excel documents, what we do, and this is a process that Doc Control is okay with, is we work offline on Google Docs like this. What I usually do, you notice this is a docx, so I download the last approved copy from Viva, upload it to Google Drive, and then we work on it in the Google Doc interface. And then when it's ready to go back to Viva for approval, I download it and convert it to Word, and then upload it back to Viva. So there's a little bit of a process there. So this is perfect.
Okay.
This working in this is the way to do it. But one
Okay.
thing for sure is I want to add you to that Jira project or Jira task that's associated with this. And I have a lot because Jen and I have been working together along with Ryan. I'm sure you know Michelle and Tim Wonder as well.
Michelle is a compliance. I don't know who Tim is.
Yeah, so I'm sorry. I'm mentioning their names because as a whole, that these are the people I've worked with in the different aspects of security under Avi.
Okay.
And and also of course Alex too, and now Andrew Hutzel as well.
Right.
So I have a lot of tasks because I was working closely with Janet, and Janet was creating tasks, and also Luigi that's mentioned here. I was working with him on this before he left Grail, and I'm trying to find where is this task. I do have a task for this. But I want to give you access to that task because I want you to understand the context.
Sure.
One of the reasons why this has been taking so long is, and I'm glad you're working on this now, is because there were some larger issues that Janet was trying to tackle, like basically document structure, also the way the approvals happen. So that stuff kind of ended up being a little bit of blockers, but also, of course, I've been waiting for responses from the people that have been reviewing it. So I'm really happy you're working on this. It makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I'll drive it, but I will need your help, Greg, because you know the pain points. That's why that's why you had the background, and I will need your guidance, right?
Yeah, no, that's what I'm here for, absolutely. And if I could find that task, because Janet created it, and I usually work from this Viva number, SecSOP002, and I know there's one here because we have this open. Unless, no, this is the same. Okay, I have to be a little careful because there's a lot of these security documents open and they're not necessarily, this is incident response, but could it be this one? This one's not titled correctly if it is. Let me see. This is old. It takes a little while to render. SOP002. Are you familiar with the, you'll get trained on this, but are you familiar with, with periodic review?
No, I'm familiar with Google Docs. I'm not familiar with the internal system.
Okay, so we as a regulated company, we have a default where all the documents within our controlled documentation system have to be reviewed at least every 2 years.
Okay.
So some of these, the reason why I mentioned that is there's a module within Viva that's called periodic review, and they send a review request to the people that own the document, and then say, does the document need to be updated, or can the document stay as is, or should we obsolete the document? And then once a determination is made, then the document's either revised, obsoleted, or left as is. So some of these documents that you are talking, that you will deal with, have been under this. And that's just something to mention. I don't think it's this one. So this is, you're on 5.0. Okay, so this is, it hasn't yet been updated.
Yeah, that's why legal's on my back. You know, a few people like Andrew to kind of get this revamped a little bit.
Yeah, so I'm still looking for the task. The one I'm thinking of was the general security response policy, not the incident response policy. And I know I think there was a request to consolidate some of these, which makes sense. This is 002. Sorry, our Jira project is not necessarily the easiest thing to manage. Is it under here? I know we have a task for this. No, that's not 002. Anyways, sorry, go ahead. I don't mean to hold you up.
Oh, no problem, no problem. So, so the question is, I can continue with editing this process, fine, you know, just make the changes. Is there any particular guideline I have to follow, or the format is okay, I can make changes, that is not an issue?
Yeah, so what I'm going to do is I will, you know, facilitate the review that you guys have been doing. But once you guys are done, I do basically an edit pass and a Viva prep.
Okay.
So we have, you know, Grail has a style guide, Doc Control has standards that we have to meet. So I usually do is I go through these documents, make sure that's there. I help you guys resolve comments. Sometimes I might ask questions. Like, for example, if there's a reference in here to another document that is no longer relevant, I may ask you guys to help me identify a new relevant reference or to take it out. So I may have questions along those lines, if that makes sense.
So your role is to kind of do a final audit of this doc before it starts the Viva process. Is that correct, Greg? I don't know.
That's correct, because the main goal of that is, one is there's document tone and consistency, and also doing kind of a quality check to make sure that what I'm familiar with and the relationship with the other security documents makes sense. So I will sometimes raise questions about that, just say, oh, this doesn't make sense to me, you know, should we change this, should we do something different? But what I'm trying to do is, once it goes into Viva, and because Doc Control does their own review, and so I want to make sure it passes their review. So that's why I do the prep, so there's no conflict with Doc Control. Doc Control is happy with what we submit, and then what they will do is they send it to approval.
Okay.
There's also just one little aspect of this.
Right.
This is SOP. SOPs and policies, which I'm sure you'll be working on both, they require training. And so one of the things that we do is, and you will definitely be a part of this, is talking to the training team and making sure that the training that already exists, this is an existing document, if that's still relevant for the people who are going to receive training requests for this new version of the document. So stuff like that, we might have some back and forth, or if Doc Control has questions, I'll help you facilitate that as well.
Okay, got it. So right now, while this is offline, I will have to drive everything, right? Just until everything stakeholders sign off. Is that correct, Greg?
Yeah, I'll work with you on that. But yeah, definitely feel free to lead this, make sure all the comments are resolved and you know, that satisfy your level of expertise as far as how you understand the process.
Right, and you mentioned, like for this, like the screen you look at right now, like 6433, I'd like to change that to the table. There's no objection to doing that, right?
Yeah, there's no problem in doing that. We have a table format, which you'll see in this document, And then for the most part, you have to put a table title, that kind of thing. But yeah, absolutely. I think you should make changes like that if you feel it's
Okay,
necessary.
so bottom line, go for it, Danny, and I'll review it. You, Greg, will review another pass. I think that sounds my takeaway, right?
Yeah, that's a good takeaway. Yes.
That's a good takeaway. So
Yes.
I'm free to roam around, change everything, then you'll be my auditor at the end.
Absolutely. I'll make sure. I'll make sure it gets through Viva. Okay.
Yeah,
And I'll also give you some advice if there's an issue. If I see an issue that needs to be, I need to ask about.
got it, got it. Yeah, got it. Okay. I think that sounds good. Let me see, go by my question. Let's see. Yeah. Okay. Now, I don't want to do, what about this editing process, which we talk about, right? What about I need to create a new operation, just like this one. I need to create another one. Like this is the incident response plan, but I need to create a physical incident response plan. What's the best way? Do I just duplicate a doc and just create another offline? Is that the easiest way or what?
That is the easiest way. So there's two ways you can do this. And again, I'm talking about completely working in Google Doc.
Yeah,
If you identify an existing procedure that you'd like to use as the basis,
right.
then I can go into Viva and I can download the source copy so you can work on it in Google Doc. And so that's one way to do it. Otherwise, I can provide you a template that also comes from Viva, and then you can work on that to populate the template with the content that you feel is necessary. So either way, if you identify a document you like, that's no problem. You can copy it. I'll make sure it's formatted to the current standard, or I can provide you a source copy from Viva of another procedure.
Most likely, I will make a copy of this one and just rebrand it to physical security and make the necessary changes then.
That works.
That works okay?
Yeah.
Okay, I don't get in any trouble, okay, with you, Greg, or anybody else.
No, you're fine. You're fine. That sounds good to me.
Okay. Let me see. And you already told me about the road there. Okay. Here's another question. While this document is in the edit mode, I'm going to drive the stakeholders, get them to review, approve all that stuff, right? And once that is done, let's say Janet approve it, Ryan approve it. I'm just naming those two people. Okay, those all done, and then I say, Craig, my stakeholders have all approved, sign off. I'm gonna give it to you now. You run through your process, whatever that is, right? Then it gets to Viva. Once you get Viva, does it need additional stakeholder approval?
Yes, it does. So it's a good question. So yeah, I mean, everything on Google Doc can be informal. So if you're working with Janet, like you said, or you're working with Ryan, once you close those comments and you're satisfied with the content, then you can hand it off to me. And then what happens in Viva is two things have to happen. We have to have a formal review. So in this case, with this policy, or not a policy, this is a plan, we would have to have quality review. And of course, ideally, quality has already looked at your draft. So I don't know if you've met Samir Yalamanchi yet.
No. So I should engage Samir earlier in the process so he knows about it at least, right?
Yes, exactly. Because he will, and Samir is very knowledgeable. He's great to work with. He will look at your document and give you advice if he sees any issue from a compliance quality point of view. And the reason why that's important because when it gets to Viva, I would have Samir do the formal review. So it's a little bit of, like I said, it's formal because you and the subject matter experts have already reviewed it offline in
Right.
Google Doc. So we don't need to repeat that process. What we
Right.
do is I basically just say, okay, Samir, you've reviewed this document, you're familiar with the content. Can you just perform the formal review on Viva, which basically is him making one final check. He does the review, and then what I do at that point is I send it to Doc Control. Doc Control does their review, and then they put it into approval. So one of the things that happens in Viva is there's a module called the document change control. And I add this document to that document change control. We may do multiple documents. If we have the same approvers, if you have multiple documents and they're related and we have the same approvers, then we can include all of those on the same document change control. But the document change control designates who the approvers are. So I will ask you this if I don't already have this information to see who should be. There's a couple categories in Viva. So functional technical lead is usually the person that owns the content. So if it's, Abi, that makes sense. And he would be designated as the functional technical lead. And then there's a quality person. So in this case, I would assume Samir. For policies, we need to have regulatory approve as well. And then you can have other approvers. Like if you wanted Janet to approve, in addition to Abi, we would include that person, we'd include her. Or if you wanted to just have, in some cases, like other people in security review, we have that option as well. Just one last thing to note about that is Doc Control has an approval matrix. So for security documents, they have a separate approval matrix that says for a policy or for a plan or for an SOP, these are our minimum required approvers. And for the most part, it's exactly like I said. We need a quality person, we need the functional lead, which again is the owner of the content, and then in some cases, we need regulatory in policies. For policies, we need regulatory to approve. And in that case, it would be Leslie Cruz, who would be your regulatory contact. For this document, for this SOP, you would only need Samir's approval and the functional technical lead approval are the only ones that are going to be required.
Okay, a couple of questions. Samir, how do you spell his last name?
It's Yalamanchi. It's YALAMANCHI.
YALAMANCHI. Is that right?
Perfect. Yeah.
So he works in the qualities, correct?
Yes, so he's technically part of software quality, but he actually reports into Ed. So essentially, he works in my organization because I report into Ed Coffey. So, so Samir he's in software, but he's still performing quality functions.
So this is to get into the VR. So he must report. He must review this. Is this a mandatory checkpoint, Craig?
Yeah, quality is always a mandatory checkpoint. In this case, Samir is the security. He's the person supporting security for that quality check.
Okay, so even this is security doc, which Janet says okay, Ryan, so okay, Samir need to have another look at it. Is that correct?
Yeah, Samir needs to be part of the review. So I think if you've talked to Janet, you may be a little bit aware that she has some concerns about that, but it's still the case that that Samir for security and IT, he needs to review these documents because he would also be doing the formal approval on Viva.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I just want to know the process. I don't know. I don't know. I want to know. So that's meaning I want to know. Okay, what is the process?
Yes.
Okay, security. Okay, so Samir is for security. Okay, and what about something like? Okay, I mean, then that means my other doc, the physical security, we need to go through Samir as well, right? But Samir need to look at that.
Exactly, yeah, because Samir is covering security, he's covering IT, and he's also covering essentially data safety.
Oh, okay. Anyway, if I forget anything, you will tell me anyway.
I will, yes. No, I definitely can. I can help you contact Samir, can make sure that he does the review, blah blah blah. If I think another person should be involved, I'll definitely suggest that to you.
Got it. So let me think. Okay, so I do the offline. We get offline. I get the stakeholder. I think they need to review, approve. I put that together. Then when that's all done, then I come to you and then Craig, and you will drive me next step. Of course, I will engage Samir already, so he knows about it. So that will save time, right? I mean, if I copy him, he knows about it. And is that sufficient? And also on Abby, as a best practice, as a VP of CISO, does he need to approve this doc, either offline or on Viva?
So yeah, it's a good question. So I would say ultimately he's the ultimate approver because he leads the organization. But in some cases, I mean, you may want Janet to approve because she's closer to the process.
Right.
That works too. That's acceptable. That's no problem. But yeah, I think Abi is, your ultimate approval for security. So
Got it. So there is from your side, from the Viva side, there is no rule saying Abby is mandatory, needs to approve it. Is that correct?
well, going back to that approval matrix, so security, what that approval matrix for security says that you need functional technical lead,
Functional
and you
technical
need
lead.
quality, right? So it says that, but what they also do, dot control maintains a list of people, and Abi's on this list, Janet's on this list of people that can approve for security. So not everybody in security has that ability. Dot control, like I mentioned, to be able to approve in Viva, you need to have additional training. And so
Oh.
Janet has had that training, Abi's had that training. So those people get designated as, these are people that can approve for security. Because usually what happens, let's say that you want Janet to approve, but Janet's on vacation
Yeah.
and she can't approve. So then you can say, okay, have Abi approve in this case. And dot control will look at the list and say, yes, that's good. Abi can approve in Janet's stead, or vice versa. So you don't have to worry about that too much because I'm pretty familiar supporting your team.
Okay.
You can approve and you can approve.
Okay.
But just so you have that context, that's like, ultimately Abi can approve all security documents because he has that designation according to dot control. But if you wanted somebody else to approve, like Janet in this case,
Okay.
or even I think something like Michelle can approve, right? I mean, Michelle's not working in your same group, but I can think of a couple different people in the overall team with Abi that can approve. Alex can approve, for example. So
Yeah. So these are so just to be clear, these are approval for going to Viva or for Viva to become published. What's the
So if you consider Viva as our source of truth for documentation, it's only the documentation that comes out of Viva that is technically what we're supposed to use. Then yes, that's why any change or new document needs to be approved there.
Got it. So once in Viva, then it's golden. It's considered an official control document.
Correct. Yes, and that's why the training aspect, if training is required, that's why that's important.
And when you say training, it's a training for people that need to review and approve. Is that correct?
It's beyond that. So if considering you have this SOP and there's existing training for this SOP, right? Because it's been issued before and people have trained on it. But what you're doing with the training is you're determining who needs to see this document, who needs to be trained on it, because who's going to perform the procedure. And that's usually tied right back to your roles and responsibilities section on the SOP, where it's like if you're saying chief security officer, or you're saying, security engineer, or development, software developer, or software testing, then what happens at that point is that gets basically turned into curriculum groups on Viva. And I can show you some examples of this, but this already exists for this SOP, so we don't have to change it.
Okay.
But those curriculum groups, what happens, because we don't really have a large training team, so we don't have like an instructional designer or somebody who's creating quizzes to test people's knowledge on the procedure that we're talking about in the document. So what typically happens is we set it up for read and understand training. So what'll happen is your document will be approved. There'll be a 2-week period before the document becomes effective. And in that 2 weeks, they're going to push the training out to the people designated as needing to be trained on the document. Those people will have to review the document, and then they'll have to do a read and understand confirmation within Viva. And then their training completion is noted. And that's tied to the document to say all these people who needed to approve, needed to train, have trained. And at the end of that 2-week period, the document becomes effective. That's the process for training.
And I assume that only the document is published, official, then that is shared with external, like, the regulatory, whatever, compliance. Is that true?
That's true. So for example, if this SOP was going to be included in the Module 4 response for the FDA, then this document would need to be effective, fully approved, and then we would share it with the FDA at that point.
Okay, the picture has become a lot clearer right now.
Okay, cool. It's kind of convoluted, so I'm glad this is helpful.
Yeah, I want to talk to you, and my takeaway is I'm doing the right thing. Start with this offline. Keep working at it. Identify my own stakeholder to review, approve. Then of course keep Samir involved, so that will save some time later, so he's not surprised, right?
Exactly.
He knows about this, right?
And if it's a policy and regulatory needs to be involved, the same thing with the regulatory person, Leslie, in this case.
Oh, okay. All right. Regulatory is Leslie?
Yeah, Leslie Cruz, but not for this document.
Okay, that's right. No
Leslie
need.
for this document, but if you work on a policy, you will.
Okay, one more thing. In this doc, there's some change that legal, Nora, I'm sure you know Nora, right? Nora?
Yes.
She asked me to update this, and naturally she is going to be one of the a reviewer and approval, right?
Yeah, so in this case, like I was talking about, where you can designate another approver, if legal has a stake in this, I would totally recommend, yes, that you add Nora to the approver to approve it in Viva, or Nora's superior, however it works.
Oh, okay, so that need to be designated in Viva, like she needs to approve in Viva. I was thinking she just need to approve in this offline doc. Is that sufficient?
Well, you can make the judgment call, because like I was mentioning before, what's required for this document usually doesn't typically involve legal approval because it's a security document, right?
Okay.
But what you could do to basically show the reason why you would want Nora to approve in Viva is if there's a legal component to this document and you want to show regulators that legal has looked at this,
Yeah.
and they approve it,
Yeah.
then that's reason for including Nora in the Viva approvals.
Well, I think that makes sense,
If you don't
right?
think that's important, you can just have her review the draft document, and that's fine too.
No, but what's the right way to do just to cover all the? I like what you say. It's just in the legal has official approved in Viva as well, right?
Yeah, so I work with Nora, and I think there's no problem there. She's used to doing things like that. So
Okay.
it's really, I'll leave it up to you, Danny, because you can make the determination.
I think
Again,
I-
I would say that.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
I think what you say makes sense. From the legal. Yeah, that's just my. It sounds logical to me.
Yeah, you can make the determination. Like I said, if it's really something, if it's an important part of the document that she's giving input on,
Yeah.
something that may be questioned, like, oh, hey, there's a legal aspect here. Did you clear that with legal? Then I think that's a good reason to have her approve officially on Viva.
I think so. Okay, great. I think that's a really good takeaway for myself. You answer all my question, and we potentially have a future day to run when you get back.
That sounds good. Yes.
And
that's great.
yeah, then I'll just continue to work on this doc. And if it's okay with you, I'll ping you for any guidance on. Do you use Slack more or use GChat?
Either you have to use both, so either is fine with me.
Okay, I'll put you on Slack then if that's okay with you. And
That's
if I don't hear you, then I'll hit you on both. I'm sure you will see one of those two then.
Yeah, no problem. I'm sure you have a Grail phone by now.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, so I've got one too. So I'll see the notification.
Yeah, I won't call you. It's just I don't think if I need to consult, it's not something you need to drop anything. Just like advice like these kind of things.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Okay, great. Do you have any question for me? Any question for me?
No, I'm just gonna say I will look for the task.
Yeah.
And this Jira task is in my software documentation project. So I will find this task. If I actually am wrong and I don't have an existing one, I will create one.
Okay.
So therefore, you will have a reference where the draft is. Once we get to Viva, you'll be able to track the work as it goes to Viva.
Yeah, I think that's important. If you cannot find it, just create one because this doc needs to be done.
Yeah, this makes sense. Yes.
Okay.
I'd like to finish it for you too.
Okay. Thanks, Greg, and I look forward to work with you down the road.
Likewise, Danny. Thanks so much, and I appreciate you reaching out to me, and I'm glad we talked.
Absolutely. Bye-bye. Have a good night.
You too. Bye.